Hey guys, it's Kimberly. I'm sure it's probably pretty close to our live time. And I am back with this piece that we were working on. I'm changing my drill bit out for reapplying my hardware, which I rarely ever take it off. But in this case, I did take it off because I had to do some sanding on that, which I don't normally use a sander with that, but in this case I had to. So if you guys have been following our live and our broadcast each Tuesday, Thursday evening, my name is Kimberly. I am here again working with this project that we have been working on. I believe we started last week, so that would have been last Tuesday, and so last Thursday, and now today. So I did do some work on this while we were not on our broadcast, obviously. And so I will be going over those colors with you guys, let you guys know the colors that I did put in here. I'm not sure if the lighting is actually the greatest. I see my light is kind of behind us and it's not really maybe showing up as good as it would in our daylight, obviously, or in the sunlight outside. However, with that said, I will do pictures and stuff later when we get going. If you are just joining me, thank you for joining. Again, my name is Kimberly. I am with Unique Finds and Furniture Designs out of Kernersville, North Carolina. And I am a Dixie Belle chalk paint retailer for Dixie Belle Chalk Paint Premier Retailer. And you guys know with the stay in place and that sort of order that's going on, we've all just kind of been trying to find different projects to do. I had a couple here in the workshop, and so I just kind of pulled this one for just kind of a quick overall. You can go back on our broadcast and see the beginning to now on there. I did use Would You Bend here. This is a piece of Would You Bend that wasn't normally on here. Hey Mindy, how are you? So this was not on this piece. However, this embellishment was original to the piece. And maybe you guys can kind of see that. I don't know if you can see it as well on this broadcast. So I know I forgot a brush. I may have one over here. Let me zip over here and see. Yeah, let me grab. I have one of these handy dandies. And I'm not sure if this is going to be, I'm probably not going to like this brush. It might work. I have a bunch of brushes in the house, obviously, because that's where I clean them. And then I don't get them back out here sometimes. And I was just looking because I am going to go over this. I may grab a different brush. I'm not sure I like that one either. Excuse me. I always get that. This one might work pretty good, but I don't know. It kind of goes over the and this embellishment here that is just original to this piece. I used a different one, and I may get a different one for that. But so that's just an artist brush that I use when I come in and do this edging, which is what I'm going to do tonight. I'm just going to come in here and bring in these colors that you're seeing here, which is our Moonshine Metallics in our Pacific, or excuse me, I always say Pacific, I mean Caribbean. And so you can kind of see that Moonshine Metallic. You can kind of see it on this. And this is our Deep Woods Moonshine Metallics. So I'm going to put some metallics on here. I did already put some metallics onto the hardware, which I'll show you. So this is the hardware for this piece. Get it up a little closer so you can kind of see the metallic on there. So that's a combination of the blue and the green, which to me is very, very peacockish. Doesn't go there, it goes here. So you can kind of see how that hardware is going to play out. I don't normally take my hardware off, but like I said, I did end up, because this piece had some rough varnish on it that looked like it was orange peeling, I did have to take the sander to it. So this is the hardware that is original to this piece. I will be remounting that And then on these drawers, they just had these little knobs. So I did come in here and put that metallic on this piece, and that's what I'm gonna do tonight with you guys, is I am actually gonna come in and I'm gonna dry brush some metallic onto this because I want it to match the feet as well as this. So bear with me while I run grab a different brush. I'll be right back. And I apologize for having to do that, but I put my brush indoors. And I apologize for doing that. Normally, I try to have everything with me. Tonight, I didn't have everything with me. So here's the plethora of brushes. So these are my artist brushes that I use for lots of other things. But these are the ones that I used. I think I'm using. Somebody got one that didn't take the paint off of it. So anyway, I take these and I come in. It seems like to me I used one of these square ones. And I'll just come in here and come right down these lines with my metallics. And hopefully you guys will be able to see that. I know my lighting's not the greatest in here, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some of those metallics on. This one's too wide. I like the flat square one. So I think that's what I'm going to use just because. So that's my whole thing of brushes. I also grabbed my water because every time I get on here, I get the dry throat for whatever reason. So the colors that are in this piece, I'm just gonna run over those for you guys. I did clean my piece really well. After I cleaned my piece, I did sand it because of that orange peel on that varnish, and I wanted a really smooth surface, so I had to get rid of that. And so most of the time I do not have to sand. I just do with a Scotch-Brite and clean it real well, and that de-shines everything, de-glosses it, and I'm ready to go. In this case, because of that orange peeling on there, I did sand that by with a sander. Just kind of knocked it down, nothing too major. And then after I got all of that done, I did come in and put Boss on it. Being as I went with a dark color, you could have gotten away without it bleeding back through, but just to always be on the safe side, I always use my Boss, which is for bleed through and odor. So I did use that on this piece. Anytime I see a piece that's in the 19-somethings, I don't question it. I just Boss it. It's just an extra step, yes, but it's also saving you not having to come and do it again because it's bled through with your cherry wood or your mahogany wood, any of those kind of woods. They're just gonna bleed through, and this could have been, that stain could have come right through your paint. Probably it's not going to come through my paint until I put a top coat on it. Normally that's when you have that process happen. It's normally the top coat that pulls the stain through, and that's when you come out the next day and you see all this yellow or you see all this pink through your paint, and that is the reason why it happens. So always use a bleed blocker, a stain blocker to keep it from coming through your colors. Being as I went with the first color I used in here is the Antebellum Blue. And because I went with Antebellum Blue, this has a pretty strong pigment in it. And so it probably would have had a hard time peeling through this, but it can happen. So don't kid yourself. You don't want to have to go through that if you don't have to. Some of this darker color in here, that is the Bunker Hill Blue that you will see. When I take pictures of this outside, y'all will see all these colors kind of shining in. And the Palmetto, so there's the 3 colors. And then I came in with the Evergreen as well. So we have the Bunker Hill, we have Antebellum, we have Palmetto, and Evergreen in here. So I was really going peacocky colors with this. And then, like I said, I came in with the Caribbean and the Moonshine Metallic. That's what you're seeing on this embellishment. And that embellishment, I'll show you, is a Would You Bin product. They come like this. Dixie Belle sells them, and so this is the same piece. I adhered this onto my piece, It didn't have an embellishment here, but I think it gave it kind of more of a very elegant charm to it. And I haven't really done anything in the inside of these. I had envisioned maybe putting some florals on it, but as I've been working with it, it just looks so elegant without having added all of that. I may not add any of it. And sometimes you could even add a few more if you wanted to along this piece. But again, sometimes less is more, so I backed off and just kind of went a little bit. So this is also a Would You Bend piece. So these are made out of sawdust, believe it or not, and they are made with the sawdust and glue, and then these are bendable. That's why it's called Would You Bend. You can heat these, and when you heat this with a blow dryer or a heat gun, it will help mold your piece. So this piece is straight like this, and you could have put it right here on the corner, had it been a different piece, of course. Heat it and then just blend it and bend it right to your piece. So that's why they call it Would You Bend. You can heat this and bend it to your piece. And I've done it on other projects, like on Queen Anne legs and stuff. But for this piece, I just used this one here. That's in the raw. That's the Would You Bend. Very elegant. You can turn it either way on your piece. Say you could have put a little thinner, not maybe as wide, on the sides of your piece, and then embellish it. What I did is I put the Moonshine Metallics on there to kind of make it pop. So I adhered this now with Gorilla Wood Glue. So, and this is what I use to put it on. So this stuff is tenacious. Once this stuff dries, you have a hard time getting it off. But this is the glue that I use when I'm applying my Would You Bend. And also, on all these drawers are dovetail drawers. So on all of those drawers, anywhere that it looked like they might have been, this is an old piece of furniture where it had been wedging apart or something, I fill with this wood glue, and it makes it nice and solid again. So the little tidbits of information of how I get these on and secure my beveled, and I'll pull that out so you guys can kind of see. Let's see. I don't mean to say. And yes, I put it in. So normally I don't use a paintbrush. Usually I'll use a screwdriver. But let me see, is this one? Yeah. So these are the dovetail drawers. So you can kind of see right along in here. Grab that so I don't bump my piece. So you can see how in here, if this dovetail drawer area looks like it's kind of trying to come apart through here, that's where I just lay these up on their side. I'll set them on the ground like so, and then just fill the wood glue in there and make sure it's good and solid, because these are old pieces. When we move furniture, of course I've cleaned all inside of my pieces, but when you move furniture around, you're jockeying it around, you're pushing it back and forth, and you're just kind of tweaking it around. And when you do that, it tweaks all these little moving areas. And with dovetail drawers, it kind of tweaks them around. So they can loosen up with time and with age. And so just a couple of little things that I fix when I'm working on my pieces. And but tonight I'm going to come in and mess with our Moonshine Metallics. Sometimes they can be a little tricky for some people. And what I did on the sides, I just kind of lightly dry brushed the metallics on. And so that's what I'm going to do with this before I add the hardware. I'm going to dry brush some of it, and then I'm going to come in here and kind of hit on these embellishments that are natural into the wood that have been engraved in there. And I'm just going to bring some of this metallic in so you can kind of see all the different colors. So this is the green, the moss. I call it moss, but it's our deep woods, along with the Caribbean. And so it kind of gives it a different kind of flair. So that's what I did to my hardware. So that's why the hardware has that shiny metallic look, and very tropical, very peacock. Up, so this is the lid. Ooh, I don't know what that was. We just had a glitch. Probably lots of people. I'm gonna mist my brush a little bit. And so yeah, I'm just gonna kind of mist it, and I'm just gonna use the metallic. Look at that, metallic. So you can have metallic slide on you if you are painting this on. You're not going to have your metallic slide as much as if you put this in an air piece. Let me see if I can drag y'all closer. Bear with me. I don't mean to make you seasick, but I'm going to drag you in. If my head wasn't in the way, y'all could kind of see. So I'm just going to come in, hopefully, and just bring some of this metallic in on this edge. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm just going to kind of send it down the lane. This one might be a little wider brush than I normally would use. Kind of. Okay, so I can't do a straight line because I am not a paint artist by any stretch of the imagination. Just work with my furniture. And I'm just gonna kinda, now when I'm doing my metallics, I always kind of try and go the same direction when I'm working it. I try not to go back, because when you go back, let me get a baby wipe. Because when you go back, you kind of pull your metallics going the opposite direction, and so it kind of takes away. So I got a baby wipe here because I'm going to come in. I'm going to kind of come in and clean up along this edge. And then I might have to put this down. My finders are too big. So if you're joining us, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching, coming on with us. Give us some idea of what y'all are doing out there for your stay in place besides being bored like the rest of us. I know it is, we are so ready to, now using a baby, I'm coming in here with a baby wipe, it'll kind of clean up your edges. And because this is chalk-based paint, you're going to probably pull a little bit of your paint back. Now this has been setting for a little while, so it shouldn't pull it back too much, but it might pull it back some. So, and then I'm going to come in along this edge. And so when you go a certain direction, just kind of remember it's always best when you're working with a metallic to keep going that same direction. So like I said, I'm not furniture. I mean, I do furniture, but I am not a paint artist when it comes to doing like canvas art or anything like that. It's not gonna happen. So I'm just coming in here and going along this edge. I know you hear our birds in the background. They are more than ready to move out. Carly's birthday is this, well, it's not this weekend, it's next Monday. So her babies, those are her babies that she wanted kind of for her birthday, and growing like a weed. So I am just coming down in here and embellishing with this color. Now it will not take very long at all. There goes my phone in the house. For the metallics to dry. And I'm gonna have to get down here because I need to get down on my work. I gotta get where I can see it. So I'm gonna get on my knees here. So if you notice when I put my metallic on, I keep going the same direction. That will ensure that you're not dragging back over your shine, if you will. So I always try to go the same way. And so I'm just coming in here. This is just some natural, I want to say engraving, I guess, maybe, that they did on this piece. And I'm just going to come in here and accent it a little bit. That's why I didn't put a transfer on this piece yet, because I felt like with the accent that's already on it, if I could come in and just kind of highlight. Now see, I went the opposite direction there. Try to stay going in the same direction. You'll see that it changes the sheen of your metallic. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to come in with the green and go right back over the top of it, so that it will have this kind of look to it. So it just kind of has that sheen to the whole piece. I'm just going to kind of wipe my brush off with my baby wipe. Baby wipes are really come in handy. Even though I don't have any babies, when it comes to working with our chalk paints, it really helps to use your baby wipes. So anywhere you messed up, you can come in with your baby wipe and kind of clean up the edge. Perfectly Imperfect is fine when you're working with vintage furniture. I kind of don't mind it looking a little bit. Clean that spot right there. So I'm gonna come in now, feel up in here. This metallic dries super quick. So I put the blue on, and that's what I did here. I put the blue, we'll say the Caribbean on first, along in here on this piece, and same with this. Maybe you guys can kind of see the natural embellished. I want to pull you up a little closer. Sorry, I know I bobbled you. But maybe you guys can kind of see how that metallic is kind of peeling up, showing off on that piece. And same with this. It's not going to come it on before now. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to put it on this area that you're seeing here. So I'm just kind of overlaying the color. And I don't need a lot. I'm just going to work off of my lid. And this is the greenish gold. So it is called the Deep Woods. For me, it looks like moss color. So I always want to call it moss, but it is the Deep Woods. And so I'm going to come in here, pull you guys up so you guys can see. And I'm just going to go right over the top. Possibly. So I'm just going to come right in over the top. And don't worry if you get a little bit on it. When it dries, it'll look more. And I'm going to knock it down some. So I'm going to pull it back a little bit with my wet wipe because I can. So you can come in with your wet wipe and you can clean it up and pull it back. What I mean by pulling it back is just kind of dragging it back off a little bit. So cleaning up. So kind of cleaning it up. And a lot of times I will take my baby wipe, probably not my baby wipe, normally a paper towel or something like that. But in this case, I'm going to use my baby wipe. And I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to kind of knock off some of my paint. So just kind of tap off some of my paint. Because I want it on here, but I don't want it to take away. So I'm going to knock that back, just like in here. Kind of knock it back a little bit. Maybe you guys can see. So knocked that green back. So that way it'll just kind of highlight a little bit and not like overpower my blue. Sometimes you may have to do that. You may knock it back a little bit. That's what I'm going to do with mine. Just because I like that look a little bit, I don't want to overpower my blue with the green. And so since I was coming this way, I'm going to continue this way. Just going to kind of drag it in here. I want my green to show too, but I also want my blue to show. So I don't want to take it all the way. So just kind of play it in. And then use your baby wipe to clean up any mess. If you feel like you've made a mess, you don't have to worry when it dries. It's going to dry in, and you're not going to see where you wiped it back with the baby wipe. So if you need to clean up any lines where you might have gone over, this is where you can, it's pretty forgiving when you use a baby wipe. Same thing when you're working with your paint colors. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to just kind of come in and knock it back off so I'm just dabbing a little bit of my metallic, dabbing it on, and then knocking it back off. And I'm just going to come in here and bring these colors into play. Like I say, I don't want to overpower my blue. I want my blue to shine, but I want my green to shine too. Because it really gives it this kind of old world vintage feel and look and vibe, and that's what I'm going for. With this piece. It's such a pretty piece that I didn't want to overpower it by transfers and all of that, which, you know, you probably could have in here, but when you do that, you're going to overpower the rest of the piece. So a lot of these pieces I get preparing for me and possibly me and this other young lady for Vintage Market Days, and so I want to have some unique pieces, but I don't want them all to be kind of the same. So on some of my pieces, they have lots of transfer and stripes and this, that, and the other. But in this particular piece, I backed it way off because of the era, basically, that this piece was created. So just kind of fell back off of it a little bit. I have a couple other real antique pieces, and this is pretty antique piece, and so that's why I'm kind of doing it a little different and throwing in some metallics to give it a little bit of new world charm, if you will, to coincide with its old world charm. So I'm going the same way here, but I'm going the same way on this piece. Again, I'm just kind of dragging my brush up through here, kind of just highlighting on the blue, because I don't want to take away. I want to kind of bring what this is into the rest of the piece. So very simple, nothing too complicated. But sometimes I know when people, with the metallics, if you wanted to come in and have a much bolder statement with the metallics, then you just kind of build them. And what I do is I kind of put them on little by little and then kind of build them the way I want them. Like if at the legs down here, and I'll point you down so you can kind of see the legs. So down here at the legs, you can kind of see how they're real shiny. If you wanted to, you could make just this bottom tip super gold, or this part super gold or green. You could work in any of your colors with your metallics any way you want to. So, and now I'm going to come in, and this doesn't take very long at all for the metallics to dry, but I'm going to come in with the brush. So I've just got a mini brush here, so, and it's well loved, but I'm also going to take my, my spray bottle, and I'm going to mist it, because our metallics are water-based. This is water-based products that we're working with. So when you start with a damp brush, it just helps your water-based products to kind of go where you want them to. And you can kind of see here maybe on this drawer that I've kind of come in lightly and brought in some of the metallics in here. So I'm going to come in with my blue just like I did in here and come over it with some blue and some of the green so that it kind of blends with all the colors that are in this piece already. I'm just going to kind of knock off some of that out of my brush and my artist brush before I go in, and I'll wrap it in my, I just kind of use my baby wipe, wrap my brush in it so that my brush stays moist until I can get to it to clean it out. It doesn't take very much to clean them, but it's just a step I take. So now I'm just going to take that Moonshine Metallic. Again, I'm going to take off of the lid, and I'll probably use my paper plate to knock back some of that metallic off of my brush. So I did dampen my brush, so I'm going to get some metallics on this brush. Now I'm going to use the same brush for both metallics, and I'm going to see, it's a beautiful blue, you can kind of see that. And I'm going to stand up because I'm going to go lightly. Now this is pretty much dry, doesn't take much to dry it at all. And I want to kind of come in, knock some of that metallic off. And I'm going to, probably, normally I'll go this way. Just kind of going to come in here, and you may not even see it much, but then again you might, and I'm just going to kind of pull it in and out. On here I'm just going to go both directions, because I'm going to pull some metallic on here. And so you see I kind of went real slow to make sure that I didn't have too much on my brush before I got started. So I'm just gonna come in here and dry brush. Now I'm going both directions, but it's not gonna matter because I'm not like going on a one simple spot. Kind of just trying to add a little metallic to the piece. So I'm gonna come in here and do the same thing. So I'm just kind of very lightly brushing some of this metallic in. This kind of dry brush of metallics, and I don't know if anybody else does that. I just want to kind of give it a little bit of sheen to this whole piece. I had already done this top drawer before we came on, so you guys could have seen that. So you can dry brush with metallics, but again, I'm using my paper plate. I'm knocking it back off my piece, off of my brush, so there's not too much on my brush. I think you can kind of see the hue up at the top where it's kind of playing in. So in this piece, I'm just going to add a little bit of metallics, dry brushing them. So I don't know, I'm not seeing many people dry brush metallic on, but for me it's easier to just kind of, you could spray it, but this is a real flexible brush, and so the bristles are flexible. This is not a synthetic, this brush is more like a China bristle. So I'm just going to brush over the whole piece. And then I'm going to switch up. So you see I didn't put much on. Very little. But it's going to give it just enough of a sheen. And when I come back in, I will come back over this with a top coat. And my top coat on this is probably going to be most likely clear coat satin. And so that'll help make that sheen kind of pop out a little bit more when you put a clear coat satin over this piece. And I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do. That's kind of my go-to quick. And I'm using the same brush, right with the blue, right into here. It's just my lid. I'm not going to mess up my paint. I'm not going to contaminate it because I'm not putting it in my paint. I'm just using it off my lid. And now I'm going to try and see if I can't pull some of that dry. I did it to the sides of this piece. And I'm just going to kind of dry brush on my knees. Dry brush, you can see it coming in, some of the green in there. Why not? Why not make it just kind of unique? It's a very unique dresser, so I'm just playing with it because I enjoy doing things different. Not every same piece the same. So with this particular one, I just am tamping it, I guess is what I'm calling it, just kind of backing off, knocking off some of that metallic, because it will, in certain areas it'll grab, and I want it to just grab naturally where it wants to, and not like I'm trying to paint it on. I just want to kind of run it over it. So it'll kind of give it a very cool effect on this old piece. So she'll be uniquely different on her own. And I will just kind of run it back. And you can kind of see it coming out. And I think it'll kind of play out. It'll bring in and bring out some of all those colors. So this is the moss. And it's okay to just kind of run it over your piece because that's what I'm doing. So I'm just kind of dry brushing this metallic. And it's really kind of cool. It will just kind of give it the all over sheen and look to the piece. So that's pretty much what I wanted to come in and show you guys tonight, that you can dry brush our metallics. You can also spray them, and you can also build them. If you want them to be really bold and you wanted it to be like that bold blue, you just build it. You do it layer by layer by layer, and you always go the same direction when you do, so that you're not sliding your metallic, because this is, it has those glittery looks to them, and so when you do that, you can slide your metallics, especially when you're spraying. You want to back off of your sprayer, which I'm not spraying mine, but when you go to spray it, you want to kind of, get a distance so that you don't just run it all over your piece. You want to make sure that you get a nice misted coverage on your piece, and that's just kind of how you get that look. And like I said, if you wanted to build this to nothing but solid moss color, or the deep woods or the Caribbean, then you just build it. And I could add it and build it as many layers as I want to across this top piece here. So you can see, if I was to just keep hitting this has got the moss on it. Doesn't matter to me. It's unique in its own right. You can just keep hitting this and keep building that moss, which is kind of a greeny gold look. And the same with in this area here. So it's just kind of fun to play with the metallics. They're different. Don't be afraid to use a metallic on your piece. You can, as you can see, you could even mix it with some of your paint colors. I'm going to pull this off, and I'm going to put some hardware on this piece just because I can. And we're here. But if you have any questions about the metallics, just let me know. I know that most of us are indoors, or, you know, staying in place, if you will. Only getting out for the basics, and which I think is working. Hey, Miss Beth, how are you? You let me know when you want to get to those cabinets at your kitchen. When you get power, right? Hopefully everybody did okay with the storm the other night. It was really ripping through this area. So this old piece I am working on, and do you have your grandbaby yet? Soon, okay. I know you were supposed to have a grandbaby. Which, how is that going to work with this lockdown? It's kind of hard to go to the hospital. I don't guess you could, right? I don't know. I think only the coach or, you know, the husband or whatever can go in with the youngins. So, no baby yet. Bless your heart. I just know Amber. She is ready and waiting, ain't she? Lord help her soul. You hear that truck. There comes my husband. The door's unlocked. They coming in. They've been out. Now this one I'm gonna pull so I can get my hardware back on. So I pulled these all, put these all in. Now I'm just gonna kind of pull them back out, kind of get that hardware on. I'm doing the moonshine, showing some dry brushing with the moonshine metallics. So that's what I'm doing on this. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I'm just trying to wedge these old drawers out because I pushed them in. That was my fault. So let me see here. The hardware on this piece. I love the hardware on this piece. It's so pretty. I just did the moonshine metallics on this. The Caribbean and the deep woods. I want to call it deep woods moss. I keep saying that, moss. There they come. They come, one of them. Daddy behind you. Mm-hmm. That's the pterodactyls. Y'all hear them? That's Carly's baby birds. I'm calling them pterodactyls. Them things are crazy. You gonna bring one over? Carly just got back. Yep. You can. I don't mind. Listen at them. They're pretty, but they eat like darn pterodactyls. So I'm just gonna put my hardware on. Just let me know, Miss Beth. I'm ready and willing. I'll tell you what, I'm ready to get some stuff done. Ah. You coming? Dog barking, chickens are crowing. Or, yeah, you can bring it over. Oh Lord, you want me to hold it? Bring it here, I'll hold her. Is that the boy? Okay, wait a minute. Amber, hey, wait a minute. Okay. It doesn't like the paint. Hey, it's okay. Say hello. So this is Carly's little babies. It's okay. Look, it's okay. All right. There, it wants to sit on my lap. Hey, Dawn. This is Carly's little baby. Did you get your painting done? You run out of cotton. So this is one of 6 over there. These are Russian Orloffs. I don't know if you've seen these birds before. Anyway, they're little crazy little things. They're so hungry. They wanted to say hello, so they're making their debut on my broadcast. Here you go. She's hot. Off they go. Bird feathers, y'all. So that's the noise you're hearing in the background. They are still in here because they're still a little too young for the temperature drop at night. And like I said, they eat like crazy. They just eat. You're out of paint already? Good Lord, girl. What in the world are you painting? Cotton. I bet I don't know if I have any. I'll have to check. I know I met a lady with some fluff. I'm trying to think. I know Nook and Cranny does not have any cotton because I was over there the other day because I got some fluff. Straighten that. But I'll have to check at Cooper's. I'm trying to think, where did I pull? I pulled the cotton that I got you the last time, I think, from the Nook and Cranny. So I might have to pull it from Cooper's if I have some over there. I know she's been meeting with people. She's been doing kind of a, by appointment. So I know that they can do by appointment. So I do believe that she has met some people over there by appointment, but I can't say that it was the cotton. I am pretty sure I got from the Nook and Cranny. I was just there the other day because, like I said, I pulled some paint for another lady, but it was the fluff. But I did notice that there wasn't any cotton there. So I will have to check my other location. Is that the same color you need? Are you going to be using that same color? Let me put this up so I can see you. And your alligator hide. I know I got gator hide. That one I'm not worried about. I probably got that in the bucket behind me. In fact, I have some things in here that I know, like I know I have patinas, all the patina stuff here because the last workshop I was supposed to do, at Habitat for Humanity, obviously, they've all been canceled. So I know I had all the patina project stuff. So I have all of that I could use and then some because I was preparing for a class there. And then, you know, like all of us. Look at this hair, Dawn. That's my hairdresser, y'all. Miss Dawn. And, yeah, I'm going to have long hair. I'm going to have to go with the long style now. I guess. I don't know. That's what I got. He is grown out. My hair grows really, really, really fast. So, it was cut. But it's not too bad. I don't think you've seen any paint in it yet. If you do, it'll be metallic. I'll be getting along with everybody else out there. Everybody that's painting their hair pink and all these different colors, I'll blend right in. So I'm just kind of adding my hardware to it just because it'll give you guys kind of a better overall look of the piece as we're going along. The paint, the color that I've used on this is multiple colors. So this is Antebellum. I've got Antebellum blue on here. As you guys can see, that's the Antebellum blue. I've got Bunker Hill blue in here. I'll just show you, go over these colors again. This is the Palmetto color. It's on here, as well as the Evergreen is in here. So I just kind of went all peacock. And then I put the Caribbean Moonshine Metallic as well as the Deep Woods Metallic. So that's just kind of an overview of the colors that you're seeing on this piece. So I used a little bit of everything just because I was thinking, you know, I was supposed to be in Florida over the spring break. And here I am. So I'm painting metallic. So why not, right? So if you're stuck here and you're not in the Caribbean and you're not down in the Gulf, let me pull this drawer out, then what else can I do but paint in those colors? So you gotta, these are old drawers, so you kind of gotta help them along. Here we go. Help them out a little bit. Yeah, put this hardware. So this is kind of cool hardware. I liked it. I don't normally pull my hardware, but this piece had been in, I'm pretty sure it had been close to a fire or something, because the varnish that was on this piece that I took off or had to knock down looked like it had orange peel on it. And anytime you see varnish that looks like it's orange peeled, it's probably been in the heat, some kind of heat, probably some sort of a fire or something, or close to it. It might have been in an attic where it just caused it to heat and all that fun stuff. So in this particular piece, I did have to, whoops, picked up the wrong one. I did have to do that. I did have to knock that down, and I did knock it down with a sander, which is very rare. I rarely pull out a sander on any of my pieces, to be honest with you. Most of them I hand do, but this one, it did have that orange peel, and in order to fix that, I did have to put the sander to it. I used 60 grit sandpaper to knock that down. Guys, I do not like straight. I hear my husband outside. And I'm so short, this drawer's tall. I'm trying to put my hardware back on so y'all can see it. How soon do you need your paint, Miss Dawn? If you're still with me. And still cotton. Everything's gonna look clean and bright in her house because she used cotton. So there is the hardware on there, and of course I do these two little ones. So I did do my hardware the exact same way as I did my piece. You can see that metallic kind of shining in there now, where I put the Moonshine Metallics on. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just kind of finishing up. I may leave this piece like this. You never know. Sometimes I think I get halfway through and decide I want to do something else to it. But in this case, I don't know. I am just kind of playing along with it. This is the Would You Bend, by the way, that I put on there. It was not part of this piece. That was an addition that I did. So the knobs were much easier. The hardware is original to this piece. So now you can kind of. And one thing, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna put some wax on these drawers so that they slide in and out better. So that's kind of something you can use your. Let me see here. Do I have it back here? Yeah. So a lot of times I'll come in with the Big Mama's butter, and I got the Big Mama's butter in Orange Grove. Let me tell you, if you could just smell this stuff, it smells wonderful. So you can kind of see it's got some chips in it, but I use this for inside of my drawers. So when I pull these drawers out, and I clean inside all my drawers and on the tops of my drawers with this Big Mama's butter, and it makes all your drawers smell so wonderful. Like fresh citrus. This is great. This smells like the orange groves of Florida back home. So, and this is the Would You Bend. This piece here that you guys can kind of see. I think you guys can see that. I'm just gonna pull it out. This is what it looks like. So this is the Would You Bend. This is sawdust, and it's in a mold. And so they mold it with glue and sawdust, and they make these beautiful wood molds. And so what you can do is, if you had this on the side and you wanted to bend it, you just heat it with a heat gun or use your blow dryer. I use a blow dryer. I cheat. I have a blow dryer that I use in the shop, and then I heat that, and then you can bend this. So you could bend it around a corner or down around the side or anything like that. So that's what that piece is there. So that piece is not original to this dresser. I'll pull you in so you can kind of see that on there. I don't know if you can or not. Maybe you guys can. There. So this is the Would You Bend, and that's the piece that I used. This is what it looked like prior. And when I attached it, I did attach it with the Gorilla Wood Glue. This is the glue I use for my pieces. So it really, really works well. So that's what is on this piece. I'd be dying if I didn't get that hardware in straight. You know, that would drive me crazy. So anyway, yeah, so this is the original hardware on these pieces, and on this particular piece, and all that you're seeing is the metallics. That's what we did tonight. We went over and just basically kind of dry brush some of this Moonshine Metallics in. And in my case, I used the Caribbean and the Moss. So I love them. They're gorgeous. If you want to build these and make these really pop and you wanted to do your whole piece really super cool, you just build it. You layer it, thin layers, one by one. Always go the same direction. So that's what the night was about. If you're putting your metallics on, always, once you start this way, stay that way and build it layer after layer. Doesn't take but 5-10 minutes for that metallic to dry. Doesn't take long at all. So you can just put one coat on, let it dry, come back in, put another coat on. So that piece that I did, the little dresser that I did, and you saw that gold on the bottom, that was Moonshine Metallic, but it was layer after layer after layer. So I did put thin layers on it, so to make it stand out and be that bold. But I used the Moonshine Metallic in Gold Digger on that piece. But these are our others. We have several. We have Rosé, we have the Deep Woods, and we have Pacific, Caribbean, Rosé, Gold Diggers, Silver Bell, Wedding Bells, and Wedding Bells, and I think there was another one. I want to say Silver Bullet, maybe. So I don't have them all right up under me, so I'm just, don't quote me if that's the exact name, but those are all of our metallics. And we don't show a lot of videos on that, so I just want to show you. You can dry brush. It's been dry brushed on here, so you can dry brush your metallics on your pieces. So with all that said, let me know, Miss Dawn, if I need to get you some of the some more of the cotton. I may actually have, seem like to me, I run past one. What size you need? Start to say, I thought I run past one. I think I have one right here. Is you only need the 8 ounce? Because if you do, I have one. Now, if you need a 16 ounce, I'll have to go find you one. But for 8 ounce, I have 8 ounce. So just let me know. And I'm pretty sure, I have to think if I have, seem like, oh, yep, looky there. If you're still with me, in the Gator Hide 8 ounce. So I have both of those. I have an 8 ounce of the cotton and 8 ounce Gator Hide, both in-house on my person. I don't have to run nowhere to go get them. So if you need to meet up somewhere to grab these, just let me know. We'll do it at the safe distance and all that fun stuff, you know. But if you guys need to get into Cooper's Vintage Village or the Nook and Cranny, I'm going to put this up here for a sec. You can message them. They will come up there by appointment, so you guys can get in, grab your product, and get gone. Nobody will be in there. Most of the places are obviously closed, but they are allowed to meet by appointment, so you can purchase over phone, whatever you need to do. They can do it that way, or they can meet you and you can grab your products and pay for it that way. However and whatever, you know, we're all just kind of working through this crazy mess together. So just let us know. We'll work it out one way or another to help you guys get the products you need so you guys can stay busy like me, keep your hands busy and your minds busy. So I'm going to let you guys go. Hope you all have a blessed evening. Thank you for jumping on our page. Thank you for sharing and liking our page. That helps us keep in the news feed, and we do appreciate that, since obviously we're a small business, and that matters to us. So I thank you all for being with us tonight. Hope you all have a blessed evening and a great week. Stay safe, and we will see you again Thursday evening while I try to find something else to paint here with you guys. So We'll talk at you guys later. Have a blessed night, guys. Bye-bye.